There are a few descriptions of this video. Hi everyone, and welcome back to Big City B. I'm B for those of you who are just joining me for the first time. If you're new here, I'd really appreciate it if you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and let's get started. Today's book review is going to be Wilder Girls by Rory Power. The genre for this book is going to be YA LGBTQ horror. There are a few trigger warnings in this book, so make sure you check out down below in the description to see what those are. Here is your summary. It's been 18 months since the Raxter School of Girls was put under quarantine, since the talks hit and Hetty's life was pulled out from under her. Your characters for this book. For track number 1, we have Hetty, Byatt, and Reese. For track 2, we have Headmistress, Ms. Welch, and Taylor. Jumping right on into things that I liked about this book. The first thing that I liked about this book is that it seemed like it was almost a modern retelling in a girl form of Lord of the Flies, where we get a lot of different power dynamics of survival and some commentary on what society does that maybe seems so ridiculous now that we've seen it in this book in this light. So I liked a lot of those comparisons and that kind of setup for this book. The second thing that I liked about this book was the different way that the talks affects the girls. I liked that it wasn't all uniform, and so every time a girl had an outbreak, something new or different happened, so the book kept a quick pace. The third thing that I liked about this book was right along with Hetty, you're trying to figure out who you should believe. Is it the Navy? Is it the headmistress? Is it Ms. Welch? Is it the other girls? You just don't know. And so while you're reading through this book, you are going on that journey to see who's really telling the truth and who's been lying to these girls for the 18 months that they've been put under quarantine. The fourth thing that I liked about this book is maybe a little bit of a carryover from Station 11, and that is the human resiliency and survival skills that these characters employ. And I just like to hear about it because I'm like, oh, what would I do in that situation? Is that something similar that I would do? And usually of the time, no. So these are giving me a lot of good survival ideas to think about if I were to ever get in any of these situations. Jumping into things that I didn't particularly like about this book. The first thing that I didn't like was I couldn't really fully connect to any of the characters. I felt like from each one I was missing a little too much, or their story was so rushed and it was put into the last couple chapters that I was just a little whiplashed, I would say, because this book does have a quicker pace. You're figuring out who to believe and all of this stuff is happening, but I just couldn't take I didn't get the time to fully sink my teeth into any character and feel like I really connected with them. The second thing that I didn't particularly like was I wanted the book to go on a little longer. I feel like it just ends so abruptly, and the whole book was so quickly paced that when you get to the end, it's just an abrupt stop, and you're like, oh, okay, is that the book is ending there? Oh, maybe I'm realizing I don't like open-ended books. But it's such an open end because so many things could happen after where the book leaves us. So I'm not sure if there will be a sequel to this book or what, but I did not like where it ended. I wanted to know a little bit further into the journey of the main characters. Maybe because I didn't feel as connected to them, so I felt like, no, the book can't end yet, I'm not as connected. Goodreads gave this book a 3.56. The things that Goodreads liked about this book were that this book was one of the most chilling, disgusting, body horror, ickiness books that they had ever read. And that they liked that it was a modern day female retelling of Lord of the Flies. And they also liked that the whole world building and mystery of the talks remained throughout the majority of the book. A lot of it remains a mystery. Now, I will comment that I didn't actually find the body horror in this book to be super horrific. I feel like this was pretty tame. If you have maybe a phobia of bugs, or that poltergeist scene where his face just like peels off in the bathroom mirror, like if you don't like stuff like that, then this book will probably be horrific for you. But I'm always a little, ooh, this is kind of gruesome. I'm always a little intrigued by those things. So like on my Instagram, I follow a mortician because I like knowing a little bit of those gruesome details of the body. But anyway, I did not particularly think that this book was super icky. I thought it was pretty tame and could have been jacked up a notch, but it's also a YA book, so there's only so far you can get in body horror in a YA. The things that Goodreads didn't like was that the writing was strange and fragmented. And I do agree with this. Something feels uneasy about the writing, and it's that quick pace where just fragments are moving too quickly, and you don't really get a good sense of the book. The second thing is that they felt like the book was too rushed. And again, I agree. Rory could have taken some time and just slowed down a little bit, because her concept is so interesting and the talks is so interesting. And some of her characters are really interesting and you'd like to get to know more, but it moves so quickly that you can't. The third and final thing that Goodreads didn't like about this book was that none of the topics of the book dug in too deeply. They were all kind of surface level. Again, I'm gonna agree with this one. I don't feel like we really gotta sink our teeth into either the situations of the book or the characters, so that wasn't my favorite. Wow, I'm really throwing you guys off. Some weeks I'm gonna really agree with what Goodreads liked, and some days I'm gonna agree with what Goodreads didn't like, and today's one of those days. Quote number 1, "We don't get to choose what hurts us." I like this quote because everyone has their own things that hurts them, and what might hurt you might not hurt someone else, and so they don't realize it and they think that you're being weak or too sensitive or what have you. And it's just that those things hit you differently for different reasons, and it's a good reminder that you should be cognizant of different things might hurt different people. Quote number 2, "Some things don't belong to other people. Some things are just mine." I like this quote because in the social media day and age, it's so easy to overshare everything. Oversharing your location, oversharing every low and high in your life, and just everything and just spewing online all the freaking time. And this quote is a good reminder that it's okay to keep things just for yourself. You don't need to tell everyone everything. Like when I think about this, I think about the ending of the Childish Gambino song Power, where he talks about telling everyone, so you skip out on the middleman who's gonna tell everyone anyway. But like, I'm saying the opposite of that. Hold some stuff for yourself. Don't tell everyone, just keep it just for yourself. Don't tell a middleman, don't tell everyone, just you. Quote number 3, "It's not love to give your wounds to someone else." This quote I also liked as well, because sometimes people can think that sharing pain is love, and so if they're feeling hurt and wounded, they will try to inflict that on the ones that they love and care about and make them feel the same, because then they can bond over being in that pain and having the same wound. It should be that the people you love, you want them to be whole and healthy and not have any wounds and to be fully healed, and you should help them get there. Lastly, would I recommend this book? I know Bear over at A2 Brody is not gonna like this, but I am not gonna say either way if I recommend this book. I didn't love it to the extent that they do, that they talk about this all the time on their channel, and it made me so excited to read the book, but I just didn't feel that same love. I felt there were so many things still missing and so many things that I wanted to know about and dig deeper into that I just didn't love it as much. I think it's a good book. I probably wouldn't read it again though. I feel like if there's going to be a sequel to this book, then I would definitely recommend it, because it seems like a really interesting premise. And interesting story to go along and learn about. But if it's just gonna end where it ends, I would just say don't invest as much time in it. Ooh, this is like the first kind of review that I'm not really sure how to recommend it, because I know a lot of people did like this book, and if you like body horror, it might be a good book for you. If you have like a low level tolerance for body horror but you still like to read it, then this would be good for you. But if you really love body horror and you can stand all the gruesome stuff, then maybe this one isn't for you. Oh, I'm just gonna say, I mean, take this review into consideration and then do your own research and read it or not. I don't know. So that's my review for you today. If you really love this book, let me know down in the comments what exactly really stood out to you, that you really enjoyed in this book that maybe I'm missing. If you like this video, do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe if you'd like to know when my future videos come out. Alrighty everyone, all the best always. Bye!